Republicans are Nazis. You cannot separate yourselves from the bad white people.
Growing up, I never thought much about race. It never really seemed to matter that much, at least not to me.
Am I racist?
I would really appreciate it if you left.
I'm trying to learn. I'm on this journey.
If I'm going to sort this out, I need to go deeper undercover.
They gon' say I'm racist.
Joining us now is Matt, certified DEI expert.
Here's my certifications. What you're doing is you're stretching out of your whiteness. This is more for you in this field. Is America inherently racist?
The word inherent is challenging there.
I want to rename the George Washington Monument to the George Floyd Monument.
America is racist to its bones.
So inherently.
Yeah, this country is a piece of
White.
Folks,
White.
trash.
White supremacy.
White woman, white boy.
Is there a black person around here? What's a black person right here? Does he not
They gon'
exist?
say I'm racist.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Matt.
Just had to ask who you are because you have to be careful.
Never be too careful.
They gon' say you racist.
In theaters September 13th, rated PG-13.
We are back on a Thursday as usual. We're optimistic here. All right, if we were a Transformer, we'd be Optimus Prime. It's Little Friday.
It is Little Friday.
Little Friday.
That's right. Big night at the Ryman last night.
Big night. Got to play the Ryman last night.
Got to play the Ryman. We can
Blew it
say
out of
we
the
played
water.
the Ryman.
Some people are saying it's one of the greatest performances in backstage of all time, which you guys are going to get to see. And
They'll
we're
see it tonight, I
excited
believe.
about it. You are going to get to see it tonight. If you watch it. Guys, we've got a great show for you as usual. Back live today. Before we get going, we were talking about something before the show that is very interesting. We got a very cool guest coming on today. There's an Arkansas connection there, and we were talking about how many mascots of teams do the fans actually eat in real life. So Arkansas is the Razorbacks, right? It's a hog, pig, bacon, all that stuff. Then we talked about Oregon, the Ducks.
What's the line?
No dogs.
You tried to say Oregon
no
State,
people.
and it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I know what
eat beavers.
Blaine, I know
It's an
I know
occurrence.
what you're trying to do. And part of me appreciates it.
You know, I'm just trying to answer your question correctly.
No, Colorado.
Florida, Gators,
Florida,
Buffaloes.
Gator. Colorado, the Buffaloes.
Whatever the Blue Hens.
Delaware.
Tulane.
You can't eat a...
Technically,
Eat the water.
Blaine.
there's
Blaine.
solid.
Seriously, I'm
There's
trying to get
solids
serious
in the
answer.
water.
You're not Oppenheimer. Don't try to Oppenheimer this. You can't eat a wave. You can drink a wave. All right? You can drink a wave. You can't eat a wave. Delta State, the Fighting Okra.
Okra. Okay.
In the chat, we want to know, what schools are we missing that people can eat? All right, I'm not talking about, don't make it
Wisconsin.
eating dogs, Joe.
Wisconsin.
I'm talking about, like, in America, United States, what people eat. How many mascots are we not seeing?
Wisconsin. How do y'all think I survived in the woods in Lady
Do people
Falls?
actually eat badger?
I did. Badger jerky. Remember?
What,
You know
bear?
what I'm talking
People
about.
eat bear.
Squirrel.
Baylor. Yeah.
So we'll see. We want to know.
If you last question,
Sidebar.
if you opened it up to the NFL, would the Miami Dolphins count?
It depends on how you eat your
Because they're not talking about mahi mahi.
No.
They're not talking about the dolphin fish. They're talking about the dolphin mammal.
Yeah.
Is that off limits?
I've never had bottlenose dolphin.
I don't think anybody
can.
eats. I don't think you can. I think it's like eagles, like falcons, eagles. Like that's protected.
It's
stuff.
tough to fit a dolphin in a bottle.
It is.
I don't think you're going to be able to do that.
Thank you.
Texas loses another running back preseason. We're going to break down the most overrated and underrated teams in the Big 12 from a win total standpoint, and we'll speak with Clayton Harrell about the Broyles Award and what it means. I'm Jay Crain, and welcome to the Thirsty Thursday edition of Crain and Company. Get your mind right. We have another great show for you today, as usual, and as we get ready to get bathed in the waters of football. But first, I want to say how honored I am to officially be a Broyles Award voter for the first time this season. Now, if you don't know, the Broyles Award is annually given to the best assistant coach in college football. It's been that way since 1996 and was named after the legendary Frank Broyles. Now, it's always an honor to be recognized as a voter, but to me, this award means a little bit more because I was raised by an assistant coach, and I myself have been an assistant coach, and the relationships you form with the players and staff, well, they're lifelong. If a football team is a family and the head coach is the father or the patriarch, the assistant coaches are like the cool older siblings that give you direction. And the players actually spend more time with assistants than they do with the head coach or really anyone else. If you've ever been involved in the game, you know the guy the players actually spend the most time with is the strength and conditioning coach, who is technically an assistant. Now, being an assistant coach, analyst, or GA is not easy, and they are different things, but there's some similar roles. The hours are long. The pressure is always immense. And hell, I can still remember the smell of the air mattress in the GA room down in Mobile. Now, these guys not only handle most of the scheming, but they're out there recruiting more than anyone. So many big names have won this award, like Phil Parker, Steve Sarkisian, Lincoln Riley, and Kirby Smart. This award is literally a catapult to your career and is the nicest feather an assistant coach can have in his cap and on his resume. It's basically calling for you to be a head coach very soon, and it typically works out that way. So to the Broyles family and everybody associated with the award, thank you guys, and I look forward to help selecting this year's winner. David.
Don't mess up.
I'm not going to
Don't mess it up, man.
I'm not going to mess it up. It's going to be impossible to mess it up. There's going to be some great candidates.
For?
The season hasn't even started yet, Blaine.
What would it have taken to get your brother to be a finalist for the Broyles Award?
For the Broyles Award?
When he coached back in the day. He was coaching those kids up,
I think he could have. He's
coaching those kids up.
Just been himself.
Yeah.
Wear that mustache.
A lot of it's recruiting, too.
That's it.
Is it?
Getting the best players in there makes you look like a smarter coach. Anybody
That
can
is
tell you
true.
that. David, I do. We're gonna talk more about the Broyles Award. Clayton's here with us, and Molly, who's the granddaughter of Frank Broyles, his wife, is here as well. We're gonna talk with Clayton. He's got some great stories. I know you guys love good stories. He's got a couple of them, but I want to go ahead and jump into the Big 12.
Let's do it.
We've done the ACC, we've done the SEC, we've done the Big 10. Now, these aren't predictions. We're giving you our best bet from a win total standpoint. So like overrated or underrated. Remember, next week is prediction week. Going to go through all the conferences, some group of fives, who makes the playoff, who wins the Natty, and who wins the Heisman. So make sure you're strapped in and locked in for that. I know you will be. But before we do, I want to go over the totals so people kind of know the teams and what are expected. So these are the expected total wins, okay, or the average, right? You can take the over, the under for the Big 12. UCF, 7.5. Colorado, 5.5. Kansas, 8.5. God, never thought I'd say that. Utah, 9.5. TCU, 7.5. West Virginia, 6.5. Oklahoma State, 8.5. Cincinnati, 5.5. Iowa State, 7.5. Baylor, 5.5. Houston, 3.5. Houston, you guys definitely have a problem, but you may fix it. We'll get to that in a second. K-State, 9.5. Texas Tech, 7.5. BYU, 4.5. Arizona, 7.5. And Arizona State, 4.5. David, who do you have as exceeding?
You want to hear? You really want to know?
I really want to. I want to open my ears up.
Why don't we start with the Utah Utes?
I love this.
That's where I want to start with the Utah Utes.
I'm in love.
Coach Kyle Whittingham. Cam Rising coming back. Remember, the last two times that Cam Rising was playing quarterback for Utah, they won the Pac-12, and they won 10 games each of those 2 seasons, was injured a year ago. Can I rattle off this Utah schedule for you?
Dude, rock and roll, baby.
Now, keep in mind, their over-under win projection right now is 9.5, so you got to get to 10 to hit this. Southern Utah, Baylor at home, at Utah State, at Oklahoma State. That's going to be a fun one. That's September 21st. They get Arizona at home, at Arizona State, TCU at home, Houston on the road, BYU at home, at Colorado, Iowa State at home. Then they finish the year at UCF. So let's just be conservative and give them a loss at Oklahoma State, all right? And then let's say they lose either Arizona or Iowa State or on the road at UCF.
Still hit.
You'd still hit at 10-2.
I think it's a great number. Me and you both agree on that. Anybody that watched the show knows that I'm higher than the front row of a Bob Marley concert on Utah this year. And when we get into prediction time next week, don't be surprised if that theme stays there. I'm going to give you mine, David, because I really do like that. I think there's a really good chance they win the Big 12. I'm going to go with a team that a lot of people are very interested to see, but I'm going to go Houston.
Really?
That 3.5 number, and it's for a couple reasons. One, I've coached against Willie Fritz before. The dude can just coach ball.
Yeah.
Like he gets the most out of his guys. The system that he runs, it's kind of changed and evolved offensively. But when you look at Houston and their roster, all right, we know Dana Holgerson was let go, and I'm going to go through the schedule in a minute. Donovan Smith, I think, has a chance to be a really good player. He's just got to eliminate the bad mistakes. He's got all the tools, big guys like 6'5", 240. You look at what they returned at the skill position. They did lose some guys at wide receiver, the transfer portal, but they still have some guys. Houston's always going to have some skill players on the outside. The offensive line, that's where I think you're going to see the biggest advancing in Houston because they can't get much worse. Right up front on the offensive line, protecting the passer, and the ground game's got to get better, which is another form of protecting the passer. But I know Willie Fritz understands that. But then on the defensive side, they were awful last year. Absolutely awful, about as bad as you could get. The pass rush wasn't there. They went to the portal and basically rebuilt this defense. I think they brought in 13 guys from the portal that are gonna play. They've got a JUCO nose that I like a lot that's going to give them some help. But this is me believing in Willie Fritz and looking at this schedule, man. You got to get 4 wins to hit, right? It's 3.5. You got UNLV, game 1 at home. I think that's like a 2.5, 3-point spread. I really like Houston in that game. You're going to lose to Oklahoma on the road. Then you get Rice at home. Should beat them. That's 2. That's 2-1. Then you go play Cincinnati. I think you're good enough to beat Cincinnati. I think these are probably going to be 2 of the worst teams in the Big 12 when you look at it. But let's say you lose that one. You're 2-2. You get Iowa State at home. It's a winnable game, but let's say you lose that one. You're 2-3. Then you get TCU. Let's say you lose on the road, 2-4. Say you lose to Kansas, 2-5. You're going to lose to Utah and Kansas State, 2-6. What I'm looking at is this Baylor game that you get at home, right? Second to the last game, and then you get BYU on the road. I feel good about 3 wins, and I think they are going to win one of the games out of Cincinnati, Iowa State, and then you look at obviously at the end there with BYU. If they win one of those games, that gets you that 4-win mark. It starts with UNLV, but I'm telling you, I don't think Houston's going to be very good, right? But I think they're going to be better than 3.5 wins. I think they get at least 4, maybe 5. I don't think they go to a bowl game. But when you're over-under marks at 3.5, you don't got to go to a bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. So when you coached against Willie Fritz, was he at Georgia Southern?
He was at Georgia Southern.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and
Willie's dog.
Wish he had stayed there and not taken that Tulane job.
We played him at home and away. And I tell you, going and playing, and you know this at Statesboro, it's so interesting because they let that grass grow. Almost like Notre Dame. Like it was a very thick grass, like a high grass. And dude, I'm gonna be honest, when we played Georgia Southern, I don't know who y'all's strength and conditioning coach was, but you guys look like Wolverine and all these guys walking.
Good.
It was
That's
crazy.
how we like it.
It was crazy.
It's not a bad pick. I think I'm going to go with the Baylor Bears.
Really?
Right now, I believe that total is at 5.5. And if you look at their schedule, one big thing that I like, I think they went and got Jaquan Finn from Toledo, who's a pretty damn
He can
good
stay
player.
healthy. He's nice.
He can stay healthy. It really opens up this offense. You bring in Spavital as your offensive coordinator. And what was your thing that held you back last year? That was defense. Who's your head coach? It's Dave Aranda, obviously a defensive-minded guy. You go look at the schedule. Obviously, you have Utah on the road week 2. I mean, pack your bags and good luck. But you do get Oklahoma State at home. You do get Kansas at home. You get BYU at home, Air Force at home. You do have 6 to 7 wins on this schedule. So I don't think the Baylor Bears would be a bad bet.
No, I don't. And I hope for Dave they're able to turn around. Don't forget, a couple years ago, Dave Aranda, he was hotter than Hansel at the Mill.
Yeah, he was the guy.
When it comes to guys that are going to get that next big job after leaving LSU. Now, on the other side, I got a feeling there's going to be some agreement here. And this is the question that came down to me. How many wins were they going to give Colorado? What was that going to be at? It's at 5.5.
5.5.
So the question becomes, and let's pull that schedule up. The question becomes, do you think Colorado's going to make a bowl game? Because that's if they do, you don't hit. If they don't, you hit. I don't want to hear any APR or any of that stuff. That's just kind of extra fat there on the beef. But
let's go through the schedule. North Dakota State week 1.
I'm going to give you a win.
All right, at Nebraska week 2.
Loss.
All right, at Colorado State.
I think they lose that game.
Let's go ahead and give them a win.
Let's give them a win, though. Let's give them 2. Let's be honest.
Baylor at home.
I'll give you a win there.
I'll give them a win, too, right now.
All right, at UCF.
Loss.
Kansas State at home.
Loss.
At Arizona.
Loss.
Cincinnati at home.
Win.
Win there.
At Texas Tech.
Loss.
Utah at home.
Loss.
No.
At Kansas.
Loss.
Oklahoma State at home.
Loss.
So
Dog,
to me, it's
I'm
4
telling
right
you.
now.
And
that's with us giving them a win at Colorado.
We are not hate. We don't hate. Nobody here hates Deion Sanders or hates Colorado or none of that. I'm just trying to win money. Like, take your feelings out of it. I'm trying to win money. I don't see 6 dubs on that schedule. To be honest with you, I feel better about Colorado not winning 6 games than I do about Houston winning 4.
Yeah, and it doesn't help right now. The 3 favorites in the conference, Utah, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. Those are 3 of your home games.
Yeah.
And I know you're like, oh, well, yeah, we want to play them at home, but I don't think you're beating those teams no matter where you play them. And then Arizona, you got to play on the road. Nebraska in the non-conference. And let's even say, even if you beat Nebraska, though, if they're starting a young quarterback, Dylan Raiola, Shedeur Sanders freaks out and throws 3 Hail Marys to Travis Hunter, that still gets you to 5 with the rest of the schedule we broke down.
Yeah, and listen, I think Colorado is going to be better than what they were last year. I think Shedeur's a dog. I think Travis Hunter, I'd love to have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter on my team. I would love to have. Now, you talk about the way they carry themselves off the field. I watch Shedeur on the field. I see a lot of good things. I watch Travis on the field. I see a lot of good things. They will be better up front, but they're still going to be bad up front, and they don't have enough depth. That's a humongous problem. And with the North Dakota State game, the more I look into it, I do want to, we try and have our viewers win the water cooler here. The more I look into this North Dakota State game, don't confuse this North Dakota State team with the dominant North Dakota State teams of the past, because that has now become South Dakota State. They are the big dog in FCS, and they should be a big dog again this year with who they return at quarterback. Not saying North Dakota State isn't good, but they also have a new coach this year. Why? Because their coach, their head coach, Matt Entz, is now the linebackers coach for Lincoln Riley at USC. So you got a brand new head coach. You're having to replace a lot. You're not the most dominant team. They're still going to be good up front. They still have an NFL offensive lineman or 2 on this team. Schematically, they're going to be very similar. That's what they do. They're going to line up and try and run at your teeth, run at your face. And that's okay. I just don't know if they're good enough defensively to be able to stop Colorado enough to win the game, even if they sit on the ball. The game I'm telling you I think is going to be more interesting than North Dakota State, Colorado, is South Dakota State and Oklahoma State. It's only a 9-point spread right now. So Vegas understands this isn't Southeast Louisiana State Central. This isn't the Mud Dogs.
So that was the team I was about to bring up next. And I just want to ask you guys about them, because right now they have Oklahoma State at 8.5 wins. Remember, 9 starters on both sides of the ball coming back.
You're really good up front. You're huge up front.
Like you said, South Dakota State, that's at home. Then Arkansas at home.
You should be 2-0.
Arkansas at home. At Tulsa.
Win.
Utah at home. They have to go on the road and play Kansas State. Okay. They get West Virginia at home, who I want to talk about next. BYU on the road, Baylor on the road, Arizona State at home, at TCU, Texas Tech at home, and then they finish at Colorado.
That is a great back half of the schedule for Oklahoma State. That Utah game is going to be huge. Here's what I want to see with Oklahoma State. And I've said this multiple times before we move on. We want to know what you think. What's the best number out of the ones I read? Which one do you like in the chat? Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We really appreciate you guys. We're almost to 150,000 and football season isn't even here yet. We want to hit it before we even get there. When it comes to Oklahoma State, we know that Mike Gundy has shifted that team, the identity of that team, from a wheel and deal, let's spit it out, have fun, throw for a gazillion million yards like they did with Brandon Weed and whatever. They are now a line it up, let's get in heavy personnel, a lot more North Dakota State, right, than they have been in the past. The word is out on Ollie Gordon. People know what Oklahoma State wants to do. So going into a year where you've had success here recently, can you keep adjusting to the adjustment? And that comes down to Alan Bowman at quarterback. I know he's played for 35 years in college, all right, but the turnovers are a problem when you look at it. Sometimes I watch Bowman throw and I'm like, I get it. Like this, I get it. I understand why. Then I watch him in the decision-making, just absolutely baffles me. He's like the dude from Split. Like it's crazy. So it's hard for me to trust Oklahoma State to be national championship worthy. But 8.5?
8.5, man.
I like the over there.
Last one quickly here. West Virginia, 6.5. All right. Which, I mean, this is another one. I'm looking at this over. Obviously, they start with Penn State. They get them at home. That's going to be a great opener. Albany, which that game's at home.
You know who went to Albany? You know what player who ended up transferring to Florida State, just got drafted by the Rams? Jared Verse. They saw him on tape against somebody else they were scouting. They were like,
really?
Him?
That was their first
round
draft
pick. Gave me 0
pick.
time to answer that.
I know. I just want to make sure.
You would have gotten it, though.
I would have gotten it.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you looked it up.
At Pittsburgh, Kansas at home, at Oklahoma State, Iowa State at home, Kansas State at home, at Arizona, at Cincinnati, Baylor home, UCF home, and at Texas Tech.
See, I don't hate the over for West Virginia there, but why would I take that when there's 4 or 5 in front of it that I really like? Now, Garrett Green, Neil Brown saved himself with the year he had last year, and I'm happy because I like Neil a lot. I do want to say one more thing about Oklahoma State. Do you know for the first time in the history of T. Boone Pickens Stadium, Oklahoma State has sold all their tickets.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That is awesome. Shout out to the fan base at Oklahoma State. That is fantastic. And also, I'm sure the fans of Oklahoma State love to eat chicken, steak, all type of stuff. So you love Good Ranchers. All right, the Olympics has come to a close. I'm not super upset about it, but the fun is far from over. Good Ranchers is extending their offer for new subscribers to get a free gold medal add-on for the next 4 years. That's free plain chicken breasts, Angus ground beef, applewood bacon. That gets me a little bit emotional. Or wild-caught salmon in every order for the next 4 years. But wait, there's more, Blaine. With our exclusive code BOOSTER, you'll get another $25 off your first box. That's up to $1,200 in savings when you subscribe. All right? We eat Good Ranchers all the time. My wife literally made shredded barbecue chicken in the crock pot with Good Rancher chicken the other night, and it was incredible.
My family lives off Good Ranchers. I'm serious.
My freezer, nothing makes me more proud. Can I be honest with you? Nothing makes me more proud as a man than walking and opening my freezer and seeing tons of meats.
There you go.
I eat so much more Good Ranchers than both of you. It's not even crazy.
That's impossible. My wife's pescatarian. She even eats it. Not only is Good Ranchers an amazing partner of the show, but they're also huge supporters of the Paralyzed Veterans of America. Every order supports American farms and American veterans. If you're a proud American, Good Ranchers is for you. And if you just like good food you can trust, it's for you. Also, remember to use our code BOOSTER, like I said, to get that $25 off your first box. Free express shipping, and add your free add-on for 40 years. Don't miss the summer special. That's GoodRanchers.com with promo code BOOSTER. We want the promo code BOOSTER to be the highest selling Good Ranchers promo code. I know they're doing like a host competition. Come on. You use promo code BOOSTER.
Booster
is what you use.
Yes.
We're planting our flag in this one. Yeah. We're the sports guys. We're selling the most meat. Get Good Ranchers. Get used to it. It's delicious. All right, let's get to the chat.
All right, chat. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read, like always. We're going to start the day off with Nikki Barber. Appreciate it, Nikki. I feel like Colorado shouldn't even be considered to hit their win total. Who actually thinks they'll be good?
I think this is Vegas' biggest mistake. Because the goal of Vegas in this, at least I think, common sense tells me, you would want to set the number where you have a lot of people betting on both sides of it, right? You don't want to set one where you're just got a bunch of people on one side of it. Yeah, your return may be bigger if that other one hits, but if a lot of people are betting on one side, typically somebody knows something or a lot of people feel good about something. That way, 7.5, you'll win some, you'll lose some. Colorado at 5.5, it really did surprise me. I'm going to be honest, Houston at 3.5. Surprise. 3.5, that is a low. That's to be 3.5. Like Vanderbilt's at 2.5. All right, think about that. But they're in the SEC. Houston, Willie Fritz under year one with the transfer portal, 3.5 with that schedule. I love what's going on right now.
Let's go to the old movie Man 7. Who will be the first Big 12 team to win a national championship in a playoff?
Utah.
I'd go K-State.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know how
I don't hate either of those picks.
I don't think Kyle Whittingham will be there long, and I don't think they can win it with Cam.
Why does everybody say that? Why does everybody keep saying Kyle Whittingham's going to retire?
They've named a coach in
waiting. But I mean, how many times have we seen?
How old's Kyle Whittingham?
It's one thing. Kyle Whittingham.
He's been there since Urban Meyer left Utah.
Yeah, like I look at Kyle Whittingham, and I think Utah's in a better position than they've really ever been in before, especially under him. But just because you name a coach in waiting, it takes a lot for you to finally walk out the door.
We'll see how he feels about the direction that college football is heading. He came out and said something about the 40 to 50 team Super League that's coming.
He did, but a lot of coaches have said that. I will say, sometimes the coach in waiting thing isn't that, the head coach is about to retire. It's you're trying to keep an assistant you really, really want for as long as humanly possible because people are going to try and come get him too. So there's two sides to that coin.
Let's go to a $2 donation from Miller. He says, I don't know about the over, but Iowa State is definitely an under. I like the under 7.5. I'm
going to tell you this much. There's a couple teams I don't touch when it comes to betting. Iowa State's one of them. Now, if I see a fan almost fight Matt Campbell after the first game, I'm probably going to start looking at the futures and maybe popping it over in there if it's still available or not. I like Rocco Beck.
I do too.
I like Iowa State a lot. I mean, I lived in the state of Iowa. I think Ames is a cool place. Some people don't like it. I think it's a pretty cool place. But I don't trust what's around him right now. But Iowa State, they always beat somebody they shouldn't. They always lose games that they shouldn't. It's just, they're a weird team to bet on. I'm not a huge fan of it.
All right, let's go to the Okie Man. He says, is our defense will be good enough this year to take that next step? they're the only thing that is holding us back. And I believe he's talking about Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I think they will be better. I mean, it's hard to get worse in some spots. This is where the returning experience, and there is a fine line. Like, if my car sucks in 2023, yes, it's returning in 2024, and it has experience, but it still sucks and will break down all the time. Just because a person returns doesn't mean they're a good player. You can return bad players. I think Oklahoma State has upgraded that side of the ball. But what I like about it is the way they play and the new clock rules where the clock keeps running after a first down unless it's under 2 minutes going into half or under 2 minutes going into the end of the game. They can sit on the ball for a while. I mean, they're just going to sit there and feed Ollie Gordon, like he got pulled over for 4 DUIs. So I think they will be a little bit better. Will they be good enough to win you a national championship? I don't think so, but I don't think your quarterback's good enough to win you a national championship. So upgrade? Yes. Weapons grade? No.
All right, let's go to John Bond 12. What is up, John Bond? It says, I didn't hear anything about Texas Tech. Could be the sneakiest team in the Big 12.
Remember, this is not a preview of the conference overall. We are going to preview each team, what we think their record's going to be, what we like about them, what we don't like about them. We're going to have our cool little books that we fill out. That's next week. We love Joey McGuire here. Know Joey McGuire personally. He's a fantastic guy. He's a fantastic coach. We've had him on this show. I think Baron Morton may be the most underrated quarterback in the country because he can't stay healthy. And when he is healthy, first off, your name's Baron, I believe. Second off, I've watched him play. I actually think he's better than Tyler Shough. Some people think I'm crazy, and I think Tyler's going to do fine at Louisville. But it's going to be interesting to watch that. We're all Texas Tech fans here. Do you want to let everybody know no call-ins today? We're going to have to cut it a little bit early because there's something else going on, which you'll find out about very soon. But we're going to be back to full length and have calls for Friday's show tomorrow. But, David, I do want to get into this rapid fire before we get to the guest.
Bunch of stuff to get to. So Texas suffered its second season-ending injury at running back. This happened on Monday. It was true freshman Christian Clark tore his Achilles in practice.
Okay, you want me to give you the good and the bad here?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of good. I'm not saying it's good that somebody got hurt, but if there's a silver lining or there's some positive that can come out of it, tore his Achilles, come back from an Achilles. It's tough, but he's young. Running back, and I said this the other day, if I had to take one position group to lose a guy at, it wouldn't be offensive line, wouldn't be quarterback, wouldn't be defensive line, wouldn't be linebacker or tight end. It would be either running back or DB. Or wide receiver, right? That skill position. Not saying any of that's good. You don't want anybody to get hurt. But here's the bad. This is two of them. Mm-hmm. So you lost Baxter, who a lot of people were high on, right? He didn't get punted off a bridge in San Diego by Jack Black. You lose Clark, who people were high on, young guy. So your depth is down. You do have Steve Sarkisian. That's great. If anybody can find a way to witch it now, what I'm worried about is how much more does this add on Quinn Ewers' plate? Mm-hmm. How much more in harm's way is Quinn Ewers now than he was before? Texas offensive line should be good, but you still got to have vision and ability as a back, but it's not just running the ball. You've got to be able to pass protect. Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to catch the ball. Now, you can't just be putting in guys, here's our pass catching running back. Your tendencies are going to be through the roof. But now if you're Texas, you've got one guy, now a guy that wasn't expected to play that much behind him, that now has to be everything. Because these guys aren't just out for a couple weeks.
And you're walking into the first year of going into the SEC.
And you're walking into Michigan week 2. Yeah. And if you're one-dimensional against that defense, you're no-dimensional. No Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. You're not looking through the bookcase. There isn't even a bookcase. You're not even Matthew McConaughey. You're just a guy that owns a crap farm.
If there was a guy you'd want to put it all on, if you're Texas, it has to be Quinn Ewers.
And Sark, offensively. I get that, but
I know it's all on Sark regardless.
Yeah.
Of who gets hurt.
I hate it for him, but for Texas, a lot of people have Texas in that SEC championship game. Again, running backs you can replace, but somebody's going to have to grow their ass up pretty quick.
Let's keep going with injuries here. Missouri lost a defensive end, Darius Smith. Sounds like he's out for the season.
This is devastating. Not only for him, remember he transferred from Georgia. Missouri, the defense, they lose their defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, to LSU. We watched Darius Robinson last year at the Senior Bowl, win defensive MVP of the Senior Bowl on the defensive line, a guy that could do a little bit of both. This is devastating for Missouri. Now, it puts more pressure on that offense. We know Luther Burden's nice, Brady Cook's nice, should be good on the offensive line. But this hurts them in a place where they don't have a ton of depth, or at least quality depth, in my opinion. And I know the schedules is lighter than some of the other SEC teams, but I mean, David, you know this is there's a reason that guys on the edge of line of scrimmage get drafted right after the quarterback. And this is hate it for the kid, hate it for Missouri, and this hurts. Yeah. Especially when you get to, I don't think this is going to cost you games against teams you're better than, but for Missouri to get back to where they want and to build on what they did last year, to beat some of the teams they're going to have to beat to take that next step, you got to have guys like that. So.
Especially in a season where there's so much hype and people are legitimately talking about Missouri could play in the SEC championship.
And they should.
Game. And we're not saying it ironically. Like, it's quite possible.
Well, David,
right?
we're talking about Missouri. We're talking about Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about some teams.
I love it. It's good for college football.
Arizona, teams like that as well.
All right, to the NFL quickly. We talked about J.J. McCarthy needed surgery last week. That surgery has been performed. He is going to miss the entirety of his rookie season. And it sounds like Jordan Addison's out for the year as well, Blaine?
Yeah, torn ACL.
Torn ACL. And you add on what the Vikings lost a corner or maybe two corners already. I mean, it's not good for the Vikings right now.
If you're a Vikings, number one, if you're a Minnesota sports fan, I just first off want to tip my cap off to you. You really love sports, and you really love your team. Y'all like the new mix of the Cubs and Red Sox. Like it's that bad. At least Anthony Edwards is a baller. Hey man, y'all got Justin Jefferson. You do got Justin Jefferson, but guess what? You just lost Jordan Addison, so you're running out of more weapons than Crain right now. The J.J. McCarthy thing.
Not as big of a deal to me.
Well, it's not. It sucks.
Yeah,
but it's like getting a red shirt year. That's what it's like. The problem with the Vikings now is Sam Darnold can't stay healthy to save his life throughout a season, and he'll also turn it over, just about as much as anybody. And I hope Sam does well.
There's Josh Dobbs.
No, well, here's what I heard. And we're going to get, this may segue to the next thing. Because the Vikings fans are just going through an episode of Black Mirror, so might as well make it even crazier. RG3 just got fired from ESPN. There are reports out there right now from people that I looked at, look like that they're somewhat connected, saying that the Vikings may be interested in RG3 to come play quarterback after the...
Yeah, come on, man. Hey, let's go get an injury-prone quarterback.
You said Black Mirror?
Black Mirror.
Yeah, that's what it would take, Black Mirror. RG3 would still be playing in the league if he could play in the league.
Look, you guys, I don't work for the Vikings. I'm not trying to say...
There's no way if you work at the Vikings, like, Jordan Addison towards ACL, J.J. McCarthy's out with the season-ending surgery. Let's go get a guy who couldn't play anymore because of his...
No, let's get back to reality, which is what I heard. Which is what they're going to get Colin Kaepernick.
Somebody said it rhymes with Smerick Smar, who's down there in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Because
Spencer
apparently,
Rattler's going
I don't
to the
know.
job.
This is again why you watch Crain. Apparently, Spencer Rattler's pretty good, y'all.
Yeah.
I wonder, man, who thought that?
So hold on. We got to get back to this RG3 thing. So RG3 just got fired from ESPN.
Yes.
Like breaking news right before we came on the show.
The croissant got
the croissant pick?
No, okay. There's a couple theories.
Or was it because he defended Florida State?
You got fired.
Did that do him in?
You know the worst part?
Or was he just bad at his job?
When this picture comes up, my eyes should go to her, but they don't. They go to RG3.
He's trying to get the whole thing in his...
If you were going to try and eat a wave, that's about how you do it.
Well, people were saying he got fired from ESPN because he's not good at his job. I'm like, that doesn't matter at ESPN.
Geez, Rod Gilmore's still there.
ESPN?
Don't they still got that one guy who said he hated the police and that all they do is kill people, and then it shows him taking pictures with the police, like with the thumbs up? What's that guy's name? He's the worst. He didn't know anything about it. Rod Gilmore still... Listen, I'm not the biggest RG3 fan ever. I think a little bit of what he says is corny, but he does know football.
Yeah.
Like RG3 does understand the game. There's a couple theories going on.
Okay, what is it?
One of the theories is that he trashed Feinbaum about talking about all the teams that aren't in the SEC and FSU. Listen, I don't work for ESPN. Not upset about that at all. There's no way, after what some people said about Feinbaum, that was why they fired him. What came out, and I think Andrew Marchand's the one who broke the story. He said RG3 and Sam Ponder as well got fired for budget cuts. And now some people think it's a conspiracy theory. I don't, because I know for a fact that to keep Pat McAfee, they're paying him so much money that they were going to have to start firing other people.
Wait, Sam Ponder got fired too?
Sam Ponder's the last woman fighting.
So Sam Ponder comes out and defends women's sports, and now she's fired?
Yeah, but then why would RG3 get fired?
Right?
Those two got nothing. No, they got nothing to do with each other. RG3 was the one talking about the Olympic boxer was really a chick.
Oh, after Sage Steele, David Pollock, now Sam Ponder,
No, I think they paid Pat McAfee so much money because I think ESPN's going down like a sweet.
So what? They're just like, all right, we're gonna have Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith, and after that, nothing else.
Yep. Yeah.
Ding, Tom Luginbill still.
You hit it.
If y'all get rid of Tom Luginbill, I'm already kind of done.
And Saban.
I'm done with them. Once Pollock is gone, I was done.
Yeah, once Pollock's off game. Yeah. Well, I can't take game day serious now.
No.
Because all it is it's not serious. It used to be like you have
at this point we're talking about this before the show, you invited a DJ, all right, to a chill party. That's what Pat McAfee is to game day.
Well, I don't think having Pat McAfee on game day is that bad. I think Pat McAfee needs to be the DJ at the party. He doesn't need to be Pollock was serious like ball. He'd be funny, telling people, getting people prepared for the day. That's what Herb Street does as well. You had the serious angle, then you'd have the Tom Rinaldi video that made everybody cry. Then you'd have the funny stuff. Lee Corso putting on the headset, everybody getting the crowd ready to rock and roll, kind of on the fake set in front, getting everybody excited. Pat McAfee can be on there, and it can be exciting. He can act goofy and funny and put on a cowboy hat and woo, and not really know anything about the players, but say all the stuff because it's Pat McAfee. But then you need the serious part of it, too. And you got rid of the serious part. So now it's just unserious to me.
All right, last one here. The Buckeyes do have a starting quarterback now.
They named him.
Will Howard named the starting quarterback.
Here we go. I'm glad they finally did it. I'm going to be interested, though, to see when Ohio State is just beating people to death, when Julian Sand comes in the game. Because I'm telling you right now, oh boy, you transferred from Bama is a nice, very, very nice.
You and Barrett just think this guy's the best.
Julian Sand?
Yeah.
Have you watched him? Have you watched his tape?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good high school tape.
I mean, you're the one that's over here trying to kiss Arch Manning on the mouth, and I can't be excited
How
about
am I
Julian
trying
Sand.
to kiss him? What are you talking about?
You love Arch Manning.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
You're just making shit up.
Why are you kissing him on the mouth?
Yeah, what?
Whoa, hold on. Who am I confusing
Not me.
you with then? Who am I confusing you with then?
Arch Manning. What do I care? I don't care about Arch Manning.
Oh, okay. I'm confusing you with somebody. No, I'm telling you, Julian Sand. Oh, boy's ready.
It's just
So what's that mean for Devin Brown?
Huh?
What's that mean for Devin Brown?
And you can't get hurt on the first play, dude.
You can't wear number 33 and expect to be quarterback at Ohio State.
All right. We gonna get to the chat here as we bring our guest on. But first, we got a cool thing to show you here in a second. But our friends over at our friends over at Ketone IQ, one of our, again, we have some on set.
Yeah,
here.
we got some right
here. This is
here.
the best way I can describe this.
All right. Dave.
Huh?
Do you want to be energized, but don't want to have to add extra sugar or caffeine? Well, guess what? This is why we got Ketone IQ. We all know that carbs are life's greatest gifts, but due to modern diets and sedentary lifestyles, we often eat more carbs than we need, and we store the excess. All right? That's why some people are big boned. This prevents our bodies from running on ketones. All right? That's not what's on a piano. It's different. It's in your body, often leading to reduced energy levels, unwanted weight gain, and chronic metabolic diseases. None of that sounds very appealing.
Dave, let's go, Dave.
But that's why we got Ketone IQ. They work closely with top Olympic athletes like Des Linden, Michael Andrews, Ironman world champion Sam Ladlow. Ketone IQ has unlocked benefits, and it's drinkable, allows you to return to an ancient source of energy on demand. And for a limited time, you can save 30% off your first subscription order and receive a free six-pack of Ketone IQ when you go to ketone.com/booster. That's ketone.com/booster. Get 30% off your first subscription order today. We appreciate you guys, and don't confuse Blaine with
Blaine and I are going to drink one. Here you go, bud.
Yeah, y'all got it, boys.
Let's
All
go.
right. Well, while they drink that delicious Ketone IQ, we're going to bring our guests in, but first, we got a little surprise for you. Roll that beautiful footage, baby. Y'all man be.
Woo!
In a world where women's sports is being transformed, the Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
What do you know about the U.S. Opens for the global games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice.
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes.
Coach,
Alex, we could play basketball.
we have to get the whole team back together.
It's time
We're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
to play
Lady Balders. Line up.
like a girl.
I'm with her. Believe in my truth. This is my truth.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
to sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix.
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Excuse me. Are these seats open?
Never mind.
Getting dunks. And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't.
That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady Ballers.
One can even be trans age now, which provides Sheelix with a wonderful opportunity to relive all the experiences that she missed out on in school.
Streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus December 1st.
Yes. Yes. If you have not seen Lady Ballers yet, you need to see it. And what a great segue. Never seen you in a dress, Clayton, but Clayton Harrell, one of the reps for the Broyles Award, married to the beautiful granddaughter.
Yes.
Frank, I'll let you introduce her. But first off, man, I do want to say again, like I said at the top of the show, it's an honor first to have you, but also to be a voter this year, man. I really appreciate it. And you know, again, as I said off the top, being the son of an assistant coach and doing it myself, it really kind of hits home. So I really appreciate that.
Man, listen, you know, after watching your show, because Josh Pate was on there, Josh Pate's one of our voters, I thought, man, that I had to get in touch with you to figure out how we can get you to be a voter, because our voter base is really, we want them to eat, drink, sleep college football.
For sure.
And you guys do that. So, man, just blessed that you said yes, and excited for what college football is. And, you know, what we love about our award is we deal with the coaches.
Yeah.
And not enough attention. You know, they get paid a lot of money, but man, you don't know what they deal with.
There's one of the reasons I got out, because I was like, hey, I can make money talking about football, but also I get to go home and see my wife. I didn't know, Clayton, I didn't know who my dad was. My mom tells the story all the time. Until I was about 11 years old, my father was never home. Every time he'd come home, it'd be like weird. I'd almost kind of hide from him because I would never see him. And that was back in, God, that was 91, 92, 93, somewhere around there.
You know, in today's time, social media, phones, I mean, constant barrage. Yeah. You know, we were meeting with a coach in December, and I don't know how many times their phone went off just with potential transfers or kids who may be looking to transfer. I mean, just, you know, it really is amazing of what these guys deal with and the stress that they're under.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was one of the things that Coach Broyles, you know, the story, I don't know if many people know of the story.
This is so great. Please tell our audience how this came about.
So my wife is the granddaughter of Coach Broyles. My mother-in-law is the youngest of 6. And so
she's better looking. You did a great job. It's like my wife. Both of our wives, too.
Listen, I posted a picture when we first started dating, and I got a text, Clayton, you outkicked your coverage.
For sure. I always say, as a former special teams coordinator, it's the only time I've ever been happy I outkicked my coverage.
True that. No doubt. So Coach Broyles, you know, one, a legend, obviously. One of the few guys who's ever been drafted in 3 sports, football, basketball, and baseball.
That's nuts.
The Yankees, the Bears, and the Hawks. They were St. Louis at the time. So he actually chose not to go pro and wanted to coach. And so he went to Baylor. That was his first stop. And it was at Baylor that he'd go up to Fayetteville when they would play and said, you know, he walked down the town at Fayetteville and there were Go Hogs everywhere. And so his goal was, hey, I'm going to be a head coach at Arkansas at some point because they get behind their team. Well, he was at Georgia Tech. He went from Baylor, he went to Florida, then he went to Georgia Tech under Bobby Dodd. Well, it was about 1956, 57, I think, the AD at Texas called Bobby Dodd and said, hey, would Frank be interested in the Texas job? This is Texas.
Yeah.
And Bobby said no. Problem is, he never asked Frank. Never asked Coach
coach in waiting. There's your coach in waiting.
Never asked Coach Broyles, hey, would you be in a Texas job? Well, word got back to Coach Broyles, and Coach went to Bobby Dodd and said, listen, I'd like you to recommend me for a head coaching job. I'm leaving, one way or the other. Like, I'm either going to go to another job or I'll take a head coaching job. Missouri came open. He took the Missouri job 1 year later. Arkansas. He wanted the Arkansas job, but Barnhill, the AD at the time, he said, we have a rule. We don't hire assistant coaches as a head coach. You have to have head coaching experience. So the year at Missouri, Barnhill called after that year, and so Coach left and took the Arkansas job. And, of course, he, made his he's there for 50-something years at Arkansas. And so it was kind of that when he felt kind of, neglected or, he just kind of got let down with the Texas thing. Not that Texas would have hired him, but the point is that...
Tell me if somebody wants me. I need to know this information.
So it was his mission when he became a head coach. He never wanted his assistants to ever feel like he didn't have their best interests. And so he would tell them, hey, give me 3 years, and if you want to be a head coach, I'll get you a head coaching job. And so that was it. It was like, hey, give me the years. I will groom you, get you ready, and then when you're ready for your head coach job, I'm going to make sure you get it.
Man, it's awesome. That's awesome.
We talk about coaching trees so much, and we talk about Nick Saban's coaching tree and Bill Parcells and some of these great guys. Can you just talk about Frank Broyles' coaching tree for a second? Because it's one of the most impressive there is.
Oh, my gosh. If you go back and look, you've got guys like Johnny Majors, Jimmy Johnson, Hayden Fry, Barry Switzer, Joe Gibbs. just, first of all, I don't know if half
That's not a coaching tree. That's a coaching forest.
I don't know if your younger audience would even know who those names are.
They do. They love football. They know.
But research those guys. So there's 3 guys that have won a national championship and a Super Bowl that all have ties to Arkansas. Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was an assistant at 77 in Arkansas.
No way.
Really?
Coach had just left. He was an AD. He became the AD. But Pete Carroll got his start there in Arkansas.
That I didn't know.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's 3 guys who have done a national championship and Super Bowl. All 3 have ties to Arkansas.
Yeah, and I know a bunch of people in the chat want to ask you questions. There's a couple stories, and Blaine, I'd get to you in a second, that I want to make sure we get to that are just, I think, awesome when it comes down to this award. If you can you tell the Todd Monken, Lou Holtz story?
I can, a PG version of it.
Yes,
and obviously it's on YouTube, so you can go watch it if you want. Yeah. So, Todd Monken, he was at Georgia at the time. Great offensive mind now. He's with the Ravens now, so he's got a great quarterback. So Todd's up there, and he's talking about the story when he was a GA under Jesse Mentor's dad. Rick Mentor was the DC at Notre Dame at the time, and so he was trying to brown nose Coach Holtz. And so he tells the story of where they were done with practice one day, and he was trying to get some brownie points. So he went up to Coach Holtz and was like, hey, look, Coach, I'm going to Wendy's. Do you want anything? And Coach Holtz, and I can't do Coach Holtz's voice, but
what do you say? I can do it pretty good.
Yeah, he does. He was like, I'll take a chicken sandwich.
I'll take a chicken sandwich
and a chocolate chip cookie. Yeah, so that exactly. Todd said it perfectly. So Todd goes out, Coach Monken goes out there, and he comes back, and he goes, this is the time when Coach Holtz gets what he wants, right? So he says Coach Holtz is looking in the bag, and he goes, Todd, where's the chocolate chip cookie? And so Todd, Coach Monken's like, well, Coach, they didn't have any. And so straight face, Coach Monken says, Lou looks up and says, the whole city? So he goes, so I got that SOB 6 of them. So he never was out of a chocolate chip cookie.
I just like the fact, like Lou Holtz is so funny to me. Still one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life is when Lou Holtz was coaching at William & Mary, and they lost a game, and they asked him in the press conference after what happened. He said, we had too many Marys and not enough Williams. That is one of the greatest all-time quotes ever. But go ahead.
Can't say that.
Quick update. Breaking news. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee will no longer use conference championships as tiebreakers.
What? As tiebreakers?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
I don't know. They just came out and said
that.
that.
Breaking?
What tie are we trying to break with a conference championship?
Okay.
Interesting.
Don't
Very
you play conference championships?
Yeah, like,
but
are they trying to do seeding?
Are they saying you don't get an automatic? No, there's no way they're saying that.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Are tiebreakers, conference championship games, tiebreakers? I wonder if this has to do with the.
Where'd you see that?
The loser.
They're just saying in the chat right now.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. We'll have to dive into that. Also, the new video game's out. And this is a cool story about the Broyles Award with the new video game.
So EA approached us, and we were like, yes, we want to be in the game. Like, I mean, just the exposure, right?
Yeah.
Of especially because this younger generation, you know, they don't know who Coach Broyles was. And so being able to be in the game, we thought that's a no-brainer. We absolutely want to be in the game. So, of course, you know, growing up in college, we play college football all the time, right? I mean, that's just what we did in college. So instead of studying for tests. So this year, the game came out.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So this year, the game came out, and I said, look, we're in the game. You know, of course, as an LSU guy, I said, I got to be LSU. So I was the LSU offensive coordinator. So I go through a season, and I have the highest scoring offense.
There you go.
All right. The defensive coordinator, of course, gave up the most points, and so he's on the hot seat, but yet he wins the Broyles Award.
Okay.
In the game.
Okay, so just for our audience, I want you to understand the irony of this. One of the people that represent the Broyles Award, literally married to the granddaughter of Frank Broyles, they go to the game and say, yes, we don't want any money. We'll put the award in the game because you guys are smart and want the exposure. Then your own guy can't win the award.
Can't win the award.
They got to fix that patch, just like they fixed that Wildcat patch there.
So, I mean, the game is great. Don't get me
it is
wrong.
great.
I mean, everything about it has been absolutely amazing. It just, you know, those are algorithms that I'm sure they'll fix.
Well, we got to fix it. It needs to be fixed.
It's one of those that, you know, you're just like, wait a second, man. The highest scoring offense and the defensive guy.
Yeah.
wins it, you know?
Someone's going to have to make a call.
Yeah. I know somebody that could. All right, Blaine.
Yeah, I guess a couple questions here. One, how many voters vote for the Broyles Award?
So we keep it under 50. We're very selective in our voters. So we have three kind of different pockets of voters. One, we have former head coaches, Steve Spurrier, you know, Houston Nutt, guys like that, right? That they were successful. They vote. We have media guys that do either on TV or, you know, do podcasts, YouTube, things like that. And then we have former winners. That's something we added last year for the first time. We decided to have our former winners be able to vote. Who better to add that group of voters than to have our former winners vote? So,
okay, we got JC. He wants to know, how does the process go into making the Broyles Award trophy?
Oh my gosh, it's about $5,500. We have an artist in Arkansas, you know, and her name escapes me right now, and Molly be mad because I'm supposed to know that name. So, but she sculpts it. I mean, she absolutely hand sculpts a trophy every year. And so, I mean, it's $5,500, and it is the heaviest college trophy.
Really?
So of any of the awards,
you know how much it weighs?
75 pounds.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yes.
Bench
That's awesome.
75 pounds.
What is the name, Justine? Tell me the name. Jan Woods.
Jan Woods.
I wonder if she's related to Tiger.
I don't know. But she's absolutely amazing. So on how she does
75 pounds. That's absolutely incredible.
Okay, Mr. Mack wants to know, in your opinion, what's the one coach that deserves the trophy but didn't get it?
Oh, my gosh. I knew someone was going to ask this. So, look, you can name a bunch. I mean, you really can name a bunch. I think, you know, man, why you got to put me on the spot?
Can I say mine? I can say mine.
Okay, you say yours. You say yours.
I'm going to say Dan Lanning.
Okay, so that year, the vote was the closest it's ever been. Wow. That was our closest.
Like down
vote.
to one vote. Like
I mean, I won't say that part. But it was close.
Tight. Wow.
It was close. And so, you know, our voters, it's a subjective award. You know, who you think should win, maybe you don't think should win, and that's why we are very engaged in our voters. You know, we talk with our voters during the football season, not to persuade them because, you know, look, I love a certain team, but that doesn't mean that coach needs to win or anything like that. But we just love college football, get to know these guys. I think the Lanning year, that one probably hurt. You know, some could say the Monken year the next year when Georgia won back-to-back national championships. Lanning and Monken didn't win. You know, maybe those guys. Look, we love Garrett Riley. I mean, Garrett Riley, what he did with Max, you know, Duggan. I mean, is unbelievable.
They're hoping he can do it with Cade Klubnik at Clemson.
You know what? I think that you know, of the group of guys, you got like Will Stein, Garrett Riley. I mean, those guys. I mean, that's your next crop
for sure. I'm interested to see Dillingham at Arizona State too. You know, he was the younger guy that kind of started. finally be able to call his own plays. But I tell you, man, it's and just for our viewers out there, for people that get upset if their guy doesn't get picked, get mad at me. Don't get get mad at the voters. Like, it's not like you guys are like sitting in a room like, all right,
you're not the playoff committee.
Let's see.
You're not the college football
That's
playoff
exactly,
committee.
smoking cigars.
The family doesn't even vote. Like Molly and Betsy, they read the name. They don't even know who wins until they read the name. So there's only like two of us that know the winner, and and so it really is truly the family, because they don't want to show emotion. They want to know. They want to be as surprised as the winner.
Yeah.
And so, Phil Parker, we always get hate mail from Iowa because Phil Parker should have always won the award.
And now
he finally won it.
Yeah.
And so, that eased up a little bit. But you know what? We know it means a lot, because when coaches release, or when we release the nominees, there's fan bases that are upset about a certain coach, or this coach got left off, or, hey, why is this coach on there? At the end of the day, we don't. The family has no say in who the school nominates, or how the voters vote. We just want to keep Coach Broyles' legacy alive of who he was, and just the importance of the assistant coaches and their wives.
Yeah.
The award, when we host the award, it's always been the first Monday and Tuesday in December, but we've had to move it because the playoffs expanded. We can't do it that Monday and Tuesday because if you're a head coach, you don't want your assistant gone when y'all may be playing the next week. So we moved it to February. It's at Oaklawn.
Yeah.
We're excited about that in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So February 13th, we're excited. The thought is that because we're not going to release the winner until February 13th. So we'll know the finalists in December, but we won't know the winner until February.
Build the anticipation.
Well, some of your guys may be head coaches at that point, right? I mean, you think about these guys that come in. I mean, there's a lot of movement in college football. And so a lot of these guys will come in, they may not be there, at that school come February. They may be at a head coaching job. They may have had that head coach opportunity. So,
did Kirby Smart have anything to say when Todd Monken and Dan Lanning didn't win?
You're trying to get me in trouble. We love Kirby to death. Look, the families, we get attached to coaches.
For sure.
All those coaches that come in, I mean, there hasn't been a coach that's come in and that has not been very, where we get to know them and we like them. Like, that's the thing is, I might like LSU, but when they play Clemson, in a couple of years on a one of those games, I love Garrett Riley.
Sure.
Absolutely. Will Stein. We get to Sharon Moore. I mean, we get to know these guys,
and they become it humanizes them once you get to meet them. That's why I always tell people, it's like at the end of the day, they're just people.
That's
like
it. They get paid a lot of money to win games.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, look, they still have kids like we do. They still have feelings like we do. They are, and so we get to know that side of it, and that's the part that's unbelievable. And you can't put a price on that. And we don't ever want those coaches to feel like, hey, we're in it for something. Man, at the end of the day, we're in it for you.
Yeah. And it's shows you the importance of the award, that people are upset when they don't win it, which is a good thing in itself. Because again, like I said at the Open, there's not a better thing, in my opinion, that you can put on your resume as an assistant coach other than I won the Broyles Award, which is literally the best assistant coach out there. And when you go through the list of winners, the guys on this list are insane. I'm going to pull this up really quickly. I was looking this week. We mentioned a few, but it's absolutely insane. And then you look at some of the young guys that you mentioned, the Garrett Rileys and guys like that. So here are the past winners, all right, of the Broyles Award. I got it right here. First awarded in 1996, as I said. Here's who we got. All right, Mickey Andrews, Jim Herman, David Cutcliffe, Ralph Friedgen. All right, this is when he was at Georgia Tech, before he was at Maryland. Mark Mangino. I wonder who had more between those two. Randy Shannon, Norm Chow, Brian Van Gorder, Gene Chizik, Greg Davis, Bud Foster. Remember Bud Foster? Jim Haycock, Kevin Wilson, and here we go. This is what the younger group will know. Kirby Smart, Gus Malzahn, John Chavis, Bob Diaco, Pat Narduzzi, Tom Herman, Lincoln Riley, Brent Venables, Tony Elliott, Mike Loxley, Joe Brady, Steve Sarkisian, Josh Gaddis, David Michigan, Garrett Riley, and then Phil Parker. And what I love about it is Garrett Riley, offensive coordinator at TCU, wheeling and dealing, moving it around. Phil Parker, Iowa, lockdown, DC. It just shows you there's many different flavors and many different ways to skin a cat. But Clayton, man, again, so honored, so great to have you guys here, and it's a cool thing, and can't wait to talk to you about the award and then see you in Hot Springs.
Oh man, it really is truly. There's so many stories that come out from this award and the coaches. And, what we try to do is when these coaches come in, we become fans. Yeah. So now we follow you for your career. Like Lincoln Riley. We follow Lincoln Riley now. We see, the ups and downs, and we stay in contact with them, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like, they truly are, as my mother-in-law, Betsy, will always say, once you're even a finalist, you're part of the Broyles name.
Yeah.
Like, in that, we've had some crazy, amazing finalists, too. I mean, the Lane Kiffin, I don't know if you've ever watched the Lane Kiffin finalist speech, but that's something, it's out there on YouTube, so, you go watch it where he talks about Coach Saban. I mean, they each get up there and they speak for about 5 minutes, and so they talk about, their wives and their families, and so it truly is. We just want more people to understand, like, man, at the end of the day, these coaches have to deal with so much. Yeah. If we just take one night, which we do out of the year, and just honor these guys, even as the 5 finalists, like, those guys last year, you had Bobo, you had Denbrock, you had Stein, Moore, and Parker. I mean, let's be honest. Any of those 5 could have won it.
For sure.
Any of those, and all 5 had a case to be the winner. Mm-hmm. And that's where it just gets so hard that, with our voters, we try to keep it selective to where we don't have 1,000 voters, where it's just, anybody can really win it. We really want there to be thought that goes into this because it is so subjective.
Well, I can't wait to put some thought into it, man. I'm really, really excited. Again, thank you and Molly so much for joining us. All right, I want to put our bets up here real quick before we get to Dono's, Blaine. Here's what we got football tonight, so I'm betting on it. All right, I'm tired of betting baseball. Make sure you go to betonline.ag, use promo code BOOSTER, get that 50% sign-up bonus, son. All right, Patriots, Eagles. Tonight, under 35.
Bet buds.
I'm riding on the under.
Bet buds.
I'm riding it. Squad ride? Maybe it's a possible squad ride.
Squad ride?
And then, I know the Eagles basically clipped their wings and aren't playing anybody, but give me them +3 because I don't believe in the Patriots offensively at -108, even though I know Bailey Zappa is going to
Pats, Eagles, under 35. Bet buds on that. Then go ahead and give me the Eagles to score the first touchdown of the game, +110.
Boo, hate that. Bring up my bets. All right, Drake May, passing touchdown on his first offensive drive. That's going off a sturdy +850. Do it. Look at me. Zoom in.
Yeah, camera operator.
Yeah,
zoom in.
Is this like that WNBA lock in the century?
Lock of the
century. It's the highest scoring WNBA game ever.
Eagles over 34.5. Bought that down a little bit, a little half-point action.
I like that.
I think it's going to.
I mean, I hate it, but
35.
part of me kind of likes it. All right, Ace.
Ooh, he's riding with you on the +3.
Eagles +3. I like it. I like it a lot. And then give me the give Ace, I'm sorry, the total team points for the Patriots under 19.5. I like that. I like that a lot.
It's a good one.
We'll see. All right, let's get to donos.
All right, if you donated today, thank you so much. We're going to start off with Cohen Lewis with a $10 donation. Leveled up to 18 yesterday.
Let's go.
Can't wait to watch my Auburn Tigers this year. Love y'all's show.
Thanks, Cohen.
Keep it up.
Happy 18th, man. Greatest time of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a $5 donation from Mr. K from a non-biased source. Talk me into BYU going bowling this year. I see the overhitting, but only at 5 wins. Hashtag go Cougs.
I'm actually going on with Benjamin Criddle to talk some BYU tomorrow afternoon. Here's where I am at with Brigham Young. I know the quarterback battle's going on with Reitzclough and Jerry Bohannon. I personally, each one has strength. I think, Bohannon's been in college for 83 years. He's going to end up being the guy. And they do return some guys at wide receiver at the skill position that I like, but it's up front with BYU. That defense was off. Now, they went through the ringer from an injury standpoint last year. They got a linebacker named Bywater, who's, like, the years he played, he makes like 200 tackles in a season. They've got some guys coming back. I just don't know if it's enough right now. We're going to dive into BYU a lot more next week. I do think they're interesting. I know it's a very proud tradition. The quarterback worries me. The run game worries me. Being able to stop the run and rush the passer. I think they gave up like 31.5 points a game last year, something nuts. Again, whether you're biased or whether you're not biased, if you're not good up front, you're not going to win. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
All right, $10 donation to I Matter Too. Hashtag Clayton. How many special teams coordinators have won the award?
Ooh, none to my knowledge, but they get some nominated. Now at the high school level, we've had
the teams nominate
the coach. The names I Matter Too.
I Matter Too.
Yeah, I love that.
That's pretty good.
Listen, we love special team coaches. The guy from South Carolina, what was his name?
Oh God, I know you don't.
Yes, I know.
Not Joe. It's not Joe Houston. I know who you're talking about.
But he, so the head coach.
I know him. He's going to kill me because I totally forgot.
The head coaches nominate. That's so the
and Shane's a special teams guy.
Yes. So he got So nobody's won it now at the high school level because we do it. We have one in every state. They've special team guys.
Well, if he's on there, it's going to be hard for me not to show a little. I'm just kidding.
$5 donation from Ryan. Take my advice and put the rent on West Virginia over 6.5 wins. I believe in Neil Brown. I got 200 on the Mountaineers week 1.
He said over 7.5?
No, 6.5. 6.5.
Country.
He said he's got 100 on them week 1 against Penn State. 200?
I don't hate that bet at all.
They beat Penn State week 1.
Oh, Katie
blocking
Block
6.5.
Yeah.
All right, last donation of the day. $2 donation from Q Smo. Do Auburn fans eat Tigers or Eagles?
Oh.
Neither, man. We drink lemonade, eat corn nuggets at Niffers.
And play with toilet paper.
All right.
All right, David.
Am I lying? Y'all play with toilet paper.
I don't eat lion either. Go ahead.
Poll.
Poll.
Part of this too, Clayton. You're not getting out of this. Yep. All right. Who's the most overrated team in the Big 12? Colorado.
You started off, Clayton.
Colorado.
Don't get me in trouble with you. No. All right, Colorado. Okay.
Colorado. No, I'm just kidding. Colorado, Utah, Arizona, or other.
Go ahead, Clayton. Percentage.
Look, I have to say other.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Smart man. Just do that.
God, he calculated those numbers.
I have to say other. Because look, I mean,
Deion's
whoever's here for PRs back there, like,
Dion calling me out.
But here's the thing: Deion's going to be really mad this year when he doesn't win the Broyles Award.
Yeah, he's going to come after.
Okay?
Yeah.
As
being the head coach,
he's going to be really upset.
I'm in heaven.
You're going to have to explain to him, and then he's just going to be mad.
I'm going to say Colorado because everybody just hates them. Like 43%.
All right, so the options are Colorado, other, and what are the other two?
Utah and Arizona.
For overrated.
Yeah.
Okay. Colorado, what was your percentage?
41. Heavy. Real heavy.
That is heavy. 42. 42%.
Other, 8%. Arizona, 9%. Utah, 7%.
Come on, slaughter.
Colorado, 70%.
I'm telling you, there's an absolute. God, I wish I could bet in real life on what we do in these polls. All right, we appreciate you guys. I know we didn't take calls today. We got to take them tomorrow. Go the full time tomorrow. We appreciate y'all. Got a great show. Appreciate Clayton, Molly, everybody at the Broyles Award. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 150,000. And like our days without football coming to a close. Thank God. Going.
Get better.
Gone. To be honest, that was pretty clean. Can we just